Now, this unit that we're in right now has three big topics. We've already seen math, which is what started out this unit. We've seen a whole lot about strings, but the third topic, Booleans, we haven't seen all that much about. So I want to talk today about Booleans. Now, we know that a Boolean is a type of variable where the value can either be true or false. But what you didn't know, potentially, is that every time you write an if statement, you're actually using Booleans. Let's say I type an if statement that looks like if score is greater than 100. Well, everything inside these parentheses here is actually itself a Boolean. Score is greater than 100 will either be true or false. So again, that makes it a Boolean. So new information, everything between the parentheses in an if statement is always a Boolean. That's always evaluating to true or false in some way. Now, another kind of new piece of information, this thing here is called a Boolean operator, and sometimes called a comparison operator. It gives us ways to compare different variable values. There's a lot of these, and we've seen some of them, like equals equals, we've seen greater than, we've seen less than. There's also greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to, which are new, but not all that crazy. There's no way to type it the way that you do in math, where it's kind of less than or equal to with the line on the bottom. So we have to type it like this when we want to do it in computer science. There's also one more that looks like this, exclamation point equals. This is how we actually say does not equal in computer science. This exclamation point is actually a special symbol in pretty much every computer science language, and it has a special name, and that special name is bang. And when you hear bang, I want you to think of like almost like comic book, like bang, with kind of the aggressive artwork around it and things like that, like you're in a comic book fight. So again, usually you'll hear me say this as bang equals, which all it means is does not equal. I can also write compound Boolean expressions that are a little bit longer. So let's say I want to say something like, I don't know, if score is greater than 100 and lives is greater than 3. I can combine together Booleans to get more Booleans. Score is greater than 100, that's true or false, that's a Boolean. Lives is greater than 3 is also true or false. And if I check them together, we know everything in the parentheses of an if statement is a Boolean. This whole thing together is a Boolean. And will be true if both things on either side of it are true. So we have and, which you do two ampersand symbols. We also have or, which is actually two of these vertical bars. It's right above your return or your enter key. Or will be true when either one or the other is true. And then the last one we can use is the bang, which again means not. So I could write something, let's say I wanted to write something a little bit more complicated. I could say if bang score equals 10 or lives is less than 2. And what does this mean? It means we're going to evaluate everything inside these parentheses. Is either the score 10 or my lives are less than 2? And then I'm actually going to do the logical opposite of that whole thing. So if what was in the parentheses was true, then I'm looking for this being false. And if what was in the parentheses is false, then this is going to evaluate to true. So again, I can combine all of these to do actually pretty complex Boolean expressions. So Booleans are so much more than just kind of knowing that I can make a Boolean variable that's true or false. There's a ton of logic that actually goes into how I evaluate these different Boolean expressions. And this is what we're going to see over the course of the next few videos. We're going to have a couple shorter videos where we're actually going to be going over different coding bat exercises. And in each one of those exercises, I'm going to be very explicit about how we can treat Booleans within if statements. Our goal over the next few videos is to achieve what we're going to call Boolean Zen. What I mean is we're really going to become one with the Booleans. The way that I'm going to have us thinking about Booleans really will kind of exercise your problem solving and critical thinking muscles in a way that you may not have before when thinking about things like these little logic puzzles.